Good morning, good afternoon, and hello to everyone. I'm so glad you came to hang out with me today. We're going to be talking about adding and subtracting fractions. This is fifth grade skill NF1 and NF2. Here are a few vocabulary words that you can use that will help you on your way as you learn about adding and subtracting fractions. All right, so let's jump into it. We're going to add and subtract fractions that have unlike denominators. And we can do this in 4 easy little steps, maybe even 3. So let's look at an example. We have 1/2 and we have 2/3. And we're going to add those two fractions together. Well, step 1 says that we should find the least common denominator. So let's find the least common denominator, which is the least common multiple between both numbers. So if I know how to do my multiples, I know the multiples of 2 is 2, 4, 6, 8, and so on. And the multiples of 3 are 3, 6, 9, and so on. So the least common multiple between 2 and 3 is 6. So the new common denominator should be 6. Now what I need to do is step 2. I got to multiply each one of my fractions, the original fractions, by something in order to get 6 as a new denominator. So let's take 1/2 and multiply it by something to get a new equivalent fraction with 6 as a numerator. I know that 2 times 3 is 6. And whatever I do to the bottom, I must do to the top. So 1 times 3 is 3. And I have a new equivalent fraction of 3/6. Let's do the same thing over here for 2/3. We're going to multiply 2/3 by something to get a new equivalent fraction with a denominator of 6. So 3 times blank is 6, which is 2. And whatever I do to the bottom, I must do to the top. 2 times 2 is 4. So I have a new equivalent fraction of 4/6. So now I can add 3/6 plus 4/6. This step is number 3, adding or subtracting our equivalent fractions. So 3/6 plus 4/6 is 7/6, which is an improper fraction. And we can simplify this into 1 and 1/6. All right, so let's look at one more problem, and this time I'm going to stack this problem instead of writing it out horizontally. So let's get into it. 9 and 2/4 minus 5 and 1/12. Since my denominators are different, I need to do step 1, which is find the least common denominator. And I know that 4 and 12 are related because 12 is a multiple of 4. So let's not bother 5 and 1/12, but we're going to find out what I need to do to get a denominator of 12 on both of these fractions. So 12 is my least common denominator. And I need to change 9 and 2/4. So let's multiply the 2/4 part of this by something in order to get a new equivalent fraction with a denominator of 12 on the new equivalent fraction. So 4 times blank is 12. Well, I know that 4 times 3 is 12. And anything I do to the bottom, I must do to the top. Therefore, 2 times 3 is 6. And I don't have to worry about changing the 5 and 1/12. I can just move it over. So now we're going to do 9 6/12 minus 5 1/12. And we'll get the fraction part first, which will be 5/12, and the whole number part, which will be 4. So our final answer will be 4 5/12. And we don't need to simplify because there are no other steps to take.